Welcome, lambs. Welcome to your next Florida Friday episode. I heard so many good things about last week's episode, and everybody's telling me to keep Floridaman going. So, Floridaman Fridays it is. In today's Floridaman Friday, a Florida man was arrested after he botched a home castration on a man he met through the dark web. You heard right, a home castration. Yee. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this episode, this rant, and all my episodes are sponsored by my lambs in Patreon, patreon.com/love and murder. So let's get into this Floridaman Friday. 74-year-old Florida man Gary Van Ryswyk, I think, Ryswyk, of Sebring, Florida, was detained by officers and charged with practicing medicine without a license that resulted in a bodily injury, which is a second-degree felony. Shortly after midnight on Sunday, August 18th, 2019, police got a 911 call that was immediately hung up on. So they still go out. They call you back to find out if you're okay, if this was a butt dial. If you don't answer, they're going to come out. So they went out. They knocked on the door, and Gary answered the door. I guess because he couldn't say anything else, he said, I have a man in my room who I have castrated, but it's not going really well. Can you help me? So police were like, excuse me, wait, what? So they went into the room and they found a 53-year-old man on a bed bleeding heavily from the groin. Then they looked around the room and saw in a pink container a pair of testicles. Just testicles sitting in a container. The room had been set up like a surgical center, and it had its own medical equipment and painkillers. I mean, you cut off somebody's balls. I mean, what are you going to do? Give them Tylenol, right? My God. A camera had also been set up to record the procedure. Police asked the victim, who couldn't speak, so they turned to Gary and was like, where did you meet this guy? Did you abduct him? We need more information. Where is he from? Gary said that he met this guy on a website on the dark web, on an actual site that's dedicated to, I'm going to try and say this, eunuch. I didn't know that's how you spell eunuch. Eunuch fetishism. Eunuch fetishism. Dude, that's the best as I can say that word. For some reason, I can't say fetishism. I can say it when I say it slow, but fetishism, I can't say it fast. So those of you who like to make fun of my lisp, have at it. He said, I don't know what happened this time, officer. Look, I have previously castrated animals. I removed one of my own testicles back in 2012. And I don't know what I did wrong this time. You know, cows are the same as men, yeah? We have the same set of balls, so it's easy to castrate a cow and a goat and a sheep. I should have been able to castrate him. I tested it out myself just on one ball, though. He also told officers that he had started this surgical procedure at 10 p.m., but then he had to stop because this guy just started bleeding heavily and it wouldn't stop. And even though he tried to suture the wound, he couldn't because of how much it was bleeding. So then that's when he called 911, but then he got scared and hung up and then tried to close the wound again. He also told police, look here, officer, let me level with you. I just remember I castrated another fella a few years ago in a motel and it kind of went just like this. But I guess it stopped bleeding on its own, or he went over to the hospital, or I don't know what the results of that was, but we didn't call the police for that one. So also, officers, I tried this procedure on a man about a week ago, but we kind of had to delay it. He's coming in about 2 weeks because nothing went wrong. It's just that I was trying to sanitize his penis, his pee-pee, you know, and he kind of sploosh, you know, all over me. So I was like, oh no, I got to go wash my hands. And so we decided that we had to figure out a way that this wasn't going to happen again, and he was going to come in 2 weeks. So So police sat staring at Gary for a little while until they remembered that somebody was literally bleeding to death on the bed, and they called emergency services and had him transferred to the hospital. And they don't know if his testicles were reattached, but they do know that he is in stable condition. Or he was. This was back in 2019. He should be fine now. Scott Dressel of the sheriff's office said, quote, "I don't know if he would even want that, like want his testicles reattached." So Gary obviously was arrested and his bond was set at $250,000. The sheriff's office said, quote, "Hang-ups are pretty routine and deputies respond to many of them per shift, but most of them don't make the cut when it comes to being memorable. This one will definitely hang around in the memory for a while." Everyone that I talked to that was on the scene had said it was something they will never forget. I bet. Just reading this, I will never forget it. Oh my God. So what do you think about this episode? I want to be surprised that there's a dark web streaming platform, I guess, for people who castrate other people and eunuchs and eunuch love and all this stuff, but can't really say I'm surprised. With 4 years of true crime, can't really say I'm surprised at that. I don't know who would want to see that, though. I don't know who would want to get that done, though. I don't know. Men, I know you're holding your balls right now. I'm sorry about this episode. It had to be told. The truth must come out. Anyways, that is what I have for you for this Florida Man Friday. I don't have a poll for this. I don't even have a poll for this. But speaking of polls, let me give you a couple of the responses on last week's Florida Man Friday. If you don't remember, that one was on Wesley Dasher Scott, the inmate who pulled 3 syringes out of his butthole and then was like, "Oh my God, where did these come from? These are not mine." That one was so funny. I'm sorry. So Stacy Marie said, "Oh my God, I'm dead. And acting shocked too. Needs to join America's Got Talent for an arse that can make any request." Dude, that was a talented butthole. Look, I gotta say, that was a talented butthole. I don't know how he did that, how he held 3 syringes in his butthole while walking, sitting and everything. But look, that was a talent. Then Hazel said, "Thanks for making my day." And another comment that said, "Please keep Florida Man Friday. That episode cracked me up." So it seems like Florida Man Friday is a lamb hit, so I guess we'll keep it around. If you have any Florida Man cases you want me to rant about, or it won't be a rant, it'll probably be cracking up, then you can definitely go to our website, www.murderandlove.com, and send me a message. I do have a form on there where you could submit episode requests. I have a couple of episode requests already. That's going to be put into rotation for everybody who's requested it. I haven't ignored you. But if you have any episode requests, you can actually go to that form and just put in your request. I will actually put the link directly to the form in the show notes below. I don't think all the Florida Man episodes will be funny, but I figure we could use a little bit of humor in all this dark true crime that comes out. Because sometimes I literally need to laugh with everything that I read all day, every day. So I'm glad y'all love Florida Man Fridays, and we will keep it up. If you want to be a part of the Lamb Patreon and just get extra bonus episodes, then go ahead and visit us at patreon.com/love and murder and become a Patreon Lamb. Other than that, that's all I have for you for this Florida Man Friday, and I'll see you in the next Florida Man. Bye. Well, I guess not in the next Florida Man, but in the next episode. Bye.